am on the West.
And this is Reprint.
This isn't breaking headlines. This is a second look with context added for perspective.
This is Reprint, edited after the headlines.
All right, good morning to the West Coast. Good afternoon to the East Coast. This is the Reprint, and I am Crystal Jordan Jennings here for Lennox and Parker, editor-in-chief, along with publisher
Victor Flavius, what's going on, Crystal? How you doing today?
Good
What's
morning.
up?
You know what? I'm a little tired, but I'm good. I'm good. I had a good evening. We've had a big week. For Lennox and Parker's had a really big week.
Yeah, big week, big long week, and I'm ready to call it a week. I need a day off.
I don't know if there's a day off coming, but we definitely have had a really,
Yeah,
really
we had a good
busy
week.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went last night. I did a thing that I have not
Mm,
done. Being in the end, I've worked in entertainment since around 2004. And so you always get opportunities to go to different things. And I will be honest with you, a lot of times I would just call someone and ask someone to go. And I think a lot
mm-hmm.
of times people are, I started to realize a lot of people want to be friends with you or want to be around you because they know that you do have access to certain things. But I always felt bad about having to go to things. I didn't want to go by myself,
Yeah.
right? So I got an invite to go see Karen White, and
Karen White.
I'm a Karen White fanatic. She's one of those artists that I think was like really a part of my developmental process. Like I loved her music. I loved her style. I would write and listen to her
Mm-hmm.
music, for as a kid. So I knew I wanted to go to this concert, and I was like, you know what, Crystal? I called a couple girlfriends, and I was like, but they wouldn't really enjoy Karen White. So I went by myself, and I had the best time.
Yeah.
I had the best time by myself. And it's like, I think people assume when you get married that you don't, but sometimes you can be married. My husband works and we have different work schedules. I am
Mm-hmm.
going to start going to more things by myself. I didn't have to cater to anybody else. Usually, if I call
Mm.
someone else, I'm like, hey, are you good? Do you need anything? I just got
Yeah.
to
Just
enjoy.
you. Yeah.
And I was that crazy woman that was up standing, singing along.
Oh, you're that person.
I
Okay.
was that person, and there was nobody next to me. I know people were probably looking at me like, and I just didn't care. It was great. It was a great time. She did a great show. Can I
Yeah.
just say,
I can imagine. I imagine. Can
oh my
imagine.
gosh. Because, I have to shout out that TLC, Salt and Pepper, and In Vogue are going on tour. That
Mm-hmm.
announcement comes out Monday, but, publicist for TLC, I got a little bit of intel, and they've done a great,
Mm-hmm.
I'm super excited. A lot of people are excited about that. TLC had In Vogue open for them on tour, and In
Okay.
Vogue had so much energy, just like, and watching Karen White, I kind
Yeah.
of wish she could open for them or be a part of that tour because she has so much. She looks amazing. She
Mm-hmm.
sounds amazing. And she is just a ball of energy on stage. She's a ball of energy on stage.
She probably had time to rest in these last 20 years of her career. No, for real. When you, you time to rest and rejuvenate, she's on tour. Because some of these artists be on tour for like ever. Drake on
Yeah.
tour forever. Boyz II Men's on tour all the time. Babyface, like so. A lot
Hmm.
of our legacy acts,
New
they
Edition.
stay on the road. Yeah, New Edition stays on the road a lot. I mean, yeah, these guys
Yeah,
are tired. I
they
can
don't
tell.
get off. In fact, I was trying to
Yeah,
figure out if I'm going to go see the Tony Braxton Boys to Men
yeah,
New
New
Edition
Edition.
show when they
Yeah,
come here. They'll be here at the end of the month. I've seen New Edition probably more times than I can count. I've seen
yeah,
Tony Braxton from working with the Braxtons quite a few times. And I have seen Boys to Men, but I've heard that this show was really good.
yeah. I
So
heard so too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I may
but
see
but
them.
also, but also they're getting up in age where we probably won't see them touring as much anymore after this. I mean, they have done it. They have done it all. I mean, I think they're up for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
Who
right
was that?
now. They're New Edition.
New Edition?
Yeah, they got
They
nominated for.
deserve it.
They got nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So this is pretty much it for them. This is like the end. When it comes.
They probably got a few. They probably New Edition is. I mean, that's what I say. Like when you watch Karen White, Karen White's 60. And I
Yeah.
think New Edition is like, you know,
50,
in their
58,
in their
57.
mid
Yeah.
50s, but
Yeah.
it just proves if you take care of yourself and God is God's
Yeah.
will. You can tour. They may have a few more years in them, but I've seen New Edition so many times that if I didn't see them again, I wouldn't feel
Yeah.
I've gotten my feel. That was my first concert. Was a New Edition concert.
You know what? I think that was mine too.
Very cool. See that?
Yeah, but New Edition, Boyz II Men, Keith Sweat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I took my wife on a date and we went to see that one. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
That was our first date. Yeah. New
Well, as
Edition.
I was taking myself on a solo date last night, I was on my way back, and I was on my way back home, and I looked down, and I had 5 miles left to
Well, we
my.
got the with Karen White video. No, no, no,
Oh
no,
yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we got the video. Yay, you guys got to. So this is her number one song,
Okay.
Superwoman, and yeah, I want to share a little bit from that with you guys.
Ladies, come on, let's do it, y'all. Oh, early in the morning, I put breakfast at your table, and I make sure your coffee has sugar and cream. Your eggs are over easy, your toast lightly. All that's missing is your money kiss. You used to greet me, and now you say the juice is sour. It used to be so sweet, and I can't help but to wonder if you're talking about me. We don't talk, it's hurting me. When I got my pride, I will not cry, but it's hurting me. I'm not your superwoman. I'm not the kind of girl that you can let down and think it easily. Boy, I am only human. I'm only human. This girl is more than an Asian love, hearts as a token of love from you to me. Yeah. Listen.
Yeah, you know what? The video sounds
Yeah, that was
better
good.
than it did in person. She
Hmm.
sounded amazing, and you see all the
That
women.
sounded good to me.
Yeah, all the women singing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was. I'm glad you guys couldn't hear me singing. As I was recording the video because I was all into it. But kudos to her for having. I know as an entertainer, is
Hmm.
you really have to keep yourself in good health in order to be
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
travel, sing, and she also shouted out and gave a lot of love to all the women that come before her. She talks about
Right. Yeah.
growing up loving Diana Ross and she Sherelle was there, the Jones
What? Yeah.
girls were
Wow.
there. She was very just gave flowers to all the women that were part of her inspiration growing up. And she brought Sherelle out. Sherelle didn't want to sing, but
Oh wow.
brought her out and she was like, she had the blonde before Mary J. Blige. It was a great ending to, wrapping up. Shouts out to Magic, the radio station here in Atlanta,
Nice.
Ryan Cameron and, hosted. It was a great, great, great show.
Oh,
And
Ryan
just
King was there.
Ryan Cameron was there.
Ryan King.
And
Yeah.
you know what? So Karen White also shouts out to Algebra. I should have gave you an Algebra
Oh.
clip too. Algebra killed it. Algebra is just
Wow.
amazing
Yeah. He's a
energy, message
phenomenal.
of
Yeah.
making sure people remember to be kind and to treat each other well. And then really quickly, Sean Milley, new R&B sensation. I didn't know who he was. He won me
Really.
over as a fan in one night. I mean, just
Okay.
very, very seldom do you have young people that come on and sing like that. And so he
Yeah.
was 29 years old and sounded, I thought it was Tank. When I walked in, this kid was singing. And I was like, oh my God, because I just saw Tank at the Brown Sugar Babe event. He has like a just
Hmm.
amazing tone. He is
Yeah.
29 years
Gotcha.
old and sings like it feels like we are in the 90s. He has a 90s
Mm.
R&B soul. So
That's good.
shout
That's good
out
to
to
know.
Sean Millie. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So as I got in the car after my wonderful evening was is headed back, I
Mm-hmm.
realized I had 5 miles in my tank. And as my car has stopped before for lack, for running
Oh
out of
my
gas, I was like, okay,
goodness.
we'll pull over. I pull over, and Victor, gas in rural Georgia is 5.29 a gallon.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God. If it's 5.29 in rural Georgia, it's never been that high ever. This is a
No.
record breaking high here. And so
529 in Georgia. I paid
rural Georgia.
599. I paid 599 um here in California.
So we're
So
almost neck and neck with you
neck and
guys.
neck.
But this is
Yeah.
rural Georgia. So I
Mm-hmm.
know Buckhead, Atlanta, it's much higher. It's probably $1 higher because
Yeah.
we usually are so, it's just there's nothing out here but like
It's not
cows.
good. Yeah. I know.
So, so we know it made me realize that oil prices obviously I got really concerned about the oil prices. Obviously, have spiked to over 119 a barrel Thursday, which was yesterday, before pulling back slightly to around 108 on Friday. Look at these gas prices. This is crazy.
Mm.
But Goldman Sachs is warning that this is not a blip. The Strait of Hormuz, which we talked about earlier, and the week has been effectively closed for 19 days, representing what Goldman calls the largest oil supply shock on record, cutting off roughly 20% of the world's oil supply. Global oil prices stuck in triple digits. Goldman Sachs say it may stay there for years. Oh my God. Years?
Yeah, I mean, why would they bring it back down?
They never bring it all
Remember
the
too.
way
They remember the prices of gas is not based upon the consumer so much. It's like whatever the barrel is, they charge based upon that. So
down.
the
Right.
gas stations aren't making a killing. They're paying for it just as we are paying for it.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I guess, so let's put the numbers in plain English. If oil touched $119 a barrel for this week, and the all-time record is 147 set in 2008,
Mm,
and that's where they're saying that we could get to. And 2008, I just don't remember it being this high in the outskirts of Georgia, right? So
yeah.
I don't
I mean,
understand.
it was cheap. It was cheaper to begin with back then, but I mean, we had the markets crash. I think we had the housing bubble in 2008. I think so. We
Yes,
had a lot of
that.
dismay stuff going on. So we might have not remember it because we were always in a
There was
it
so
was
much
bad
going
back then.
on. Definitely, Atlanta
Yeah,
was suffering from the housing, the mortgage issues, and
yeah.
the
Hmm.
arms and all this. But it is just it's this war is really affecting us. I told you guys my husband drives trucks, and
Hmm.
it's funny because I called him when I got to the gas station. I was like, "Babe, it is 5:29." He was like, "Yeah, I know. I was wondering why you were running around so much."
Yeah.
But one of his coworkers called him and was like, "I lost my gas card," and he was like, "Well, you cannot use mine. I just put $800 in this truck." So
Eight
it
hundred
is
dollars in a
definitely,
truck
and that what
gas.
that translates is to prices for everything
Everything's going up. Yeah,
skyrocketing.
everything's going up. Yeah.
Mm.
Whew. We gotta pick and choose where we go now. Can't go
Yeah,
places.
I'm gonna just limit my travel this
You
weekend.
have to, yeah, yeah. Especially you drive out to Atlanta, it's what, an hour drive, hour and a
It's an
half
hour drive. Yeah, it's
each
an hour.
way. That's 2 hours. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
And
gotta take it.
it's about 31 miles. So from my house to
Oof,
downtown Atlanta is 31 miles. And
it's a tank of
so
gas.
it's definitely a take a gas. Man, so I think looking at this war, and to your point, it's there's always indirect correlations, but
Hmm.
I think a lot of people are looking at it like this. That we've heard that not only is Iran not compromising or not, and I mean both
They're not
sides.
backing down. They're
They're
not
not
gonna back down. No,
they're
no.
not backing down. I said Trump said the war is over when he says it's over, and it looks like the war is actually, not only is it not going to be over anytime soon, but we're leaning in. The U.S. military is deploying three more warships and roughly 2,500 more Marines to the Middle East. So we are we are at war. We are
Yeah,
100%
yeah.
at war, and it is this is not a small move. That's a large number of troops to deploy. 2,500 Marines and three amphibious warships is a substantial force projection. This is the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit. out of San Diego. And I just want to say this. I know you want to make some points about this, but I was talking to my husband yesterday. He called me on my way to the show,
Mm-hmm.
and one of his sergeants that he trained in the military um, unalived himself
Oh,
um,
wow.
yesterday. And so I pulled over and I was like, "Are you okay? Do you need me to come see you?" And because he trained this person, he was with him in the battlefield. And this is the second friend of his from the military that he was connected to that has done that in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
so I think it's two things. I think it's difficult for soldiers to probably hear some of the things that are going on because they know what that entails. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the
Mm-hmm.
average American citizen needs to understand what happens. We go to war. What happens to these people that are charged with protecting us, and what happens to them after they come back. So, say
Yeah.
out of these 2,500 Marines, we pray, that all of them come back. But when they do come
Yeah.
back, what is
Come back
their
different.
they
Yeah.
come back different. They come back different. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, I want to share that this morning because I don't think it's easy not to think about it because, for a lot of people, it doesn't affect them. But for those of us that are connected to veterans, we know there was a veteran that went back to the VA here and killed
Hmm.
people. Like they come back different. So there's no win. There's no
Yeah.
winners or losers. There's only losers, I believe, in war because even if you do win the battle, the price that was paid for us to have the freedom or to be able to have the things that we're doing is the price is a lot more expensive than a lot of people realize.
Yeah. So we're talking about one war, which is Iran right now. And for them to deploy three more, the word is more, not just three, but three more ships. Just so they already have more. They already have ships out there in the region. And now they're talking about going after Cuba next. We got troops on the ground in Ecuador. We have troops on the ground in Nigeria. So we are spread thin as a nation when it comes to fighting. But it's just people come back different. We don't think about the veterans here who are suffering with opioid addiction because they got nightmares of what happened, when they were at war. And so, you know, it's not something to take lightly. I would say, just and it's not. I don't think Iran is gonna quit right now. They are ready to go all out because
Mhm.
they had enough.
Yeah,
This was poorly planned, poorly put together, and it's the repercussions from what everyone is saying. All the analysts, all the TV networks, all of the people, even generals, are coming out saying this was a bad move. And we pulled out of Iraq. It wasn't good. It was a bad look. And we didn't win that war. We didn't win Vietnam. We didn't win any wars. So it's like war doesn't. War's big business when it comes out to making money.
it is.
We just yeah.
It
And
is.
then, and then just to add to that, on the news I heard yesterday that Russia sent Cuba some oil, and Russia has sanctions with America, so they're not supposed to, but they did, and so that's another conflict. So
We were talking about that too. Russia is not
yeah,
an ally of ours, and I think President
no,
Trump
neither
made
is China.
that he had an ally in Russia, that Putin and he had an agreement, and that's obviously not true. I also want to point out
Yeah,
that Cuba is still without power,
power. Yeah, they're still yeah. Yeah, they're blacked
and
out right now.
Trump said that they should uh, change leadership.
He said he could do whatever he wants. He can go over there and do whatever he wants. And when he feels like it, he's thinking about it, and he's like, I don't know. I'm like, what?
The
Yeah, I don't know.
they have no power at all. So, and
Yeah.
I heard a news analyst say, well, that means they should just, I guess they're just doing daily activities. But can you imagine what can you do in the day without power? Eventually, without any type of
Well,
power.
You can't. Let me tell you something. When I lived on the islands on St. Croix, Virgin Islands, we had Hurricane Hugo,
Hmm.
91, and we had that was Category 5. That was the first Category 5 I've been through and been in, right? 1991, and we had no power for at least a month, and no gas. Gas stations were the first things to go because people wanted gas for generators.
Hmm.
When that was gone, people were siphoning cars. Martial law broke out. I mean, it gets pretty bad. Imagine, think about not having ice to drink cold water with. I know some not crazy, but when it gets hot outside in Georgia summer, and you have no air condition, you have no ice to drink, cool you off, it gets miserable. So yeah, so Cuba's going through right now. It's bad.
I'm
We got
like
to pray for
looking
Cuba.
like
Yeah.
with I mean, there's a lot of things that are directly related to that, to like electricity. A lot of things
Yeah.
eventually go out.
The hospitals. Think about the hospitals and the nursing homes.
Yeah.
Think about schools and a lot is affected by it. Yeah. Not just cars. Yeah.
It's so interesting how we pivot. We pivot from just heartbreaking realities to the foolishness of our pop culture. But that's what we do. That's what we
The
do every day.
pendulum. The pendulum.
Pendulum swings from polar opposites. But um, The Bachelorette. Now, The Bachelorette has been a reality show. Well, The Bachelor Nation is what they call it.
Hmm.
The series and the franchise that all stemmed from The Bachelor. I don't even know. I believe it's in it's season 22 of The Bachelorette. I don't know how many seasons of The Bachelor because The Bachelor was around a while before The Bachelorette, but ABC canceled season 22 of The Bachelorette on yesterday, just 3 days before its scheduled Sunday premiere, after TMZ published a resurfaced 2023 video showing star Taylor Frankie Paul kicking and throwing bar stools at her ex, Dakota Mortensen, with their 5-year-old daughter sat nearby crying. The daughter actually was struck in her outrage.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna say this. I was not surprised. I was surprised that they filmed an entire season and then canceled it, right? But I remember when I heard that Taylor Frankie Paul was going to be the Bachelorette, and most people know her on TikTok from the Lives of Mormon Wives. I just thought she became
Oh,
popular as a Mormon in that
that's crazy.
yeah, that religion. I want to say that religion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Women that are in that and promoting it, and that seems like a contradictory thing to me. Like to become popular as an influencer for being a Mormon wife, it just feels very contradictory in its definition to me. But so when I saw that she was going to be the Bachelorette, I felt like they were really trying to make the show appeal to a younger audience because the Bachelor's audience is older. They've been doing this from early 2000s. So
Yeah.
ex- bringing someone in from another reality show, Hulu's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I just felt like that was it was taken in a different direction because for all practical purposes, if there are viewers out there that watch The Bachelor, or watch the franchises, The Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor, Golden Bachelorette, they try to have be more like the upper echelon of reality shows.
Yeah, they tried.
But I mean, at this point, they've failed because they made a
Epic.
move and it's an epic failure. And
Hmm.
I want to say, just from my perspective as a public relations professional, there's no way that ABC did not know that. They saw that video. They were okay with it until they got the
Wait,
backlash.
this is 2023?
The video happened in 2023. Exactly.
And
And
they didn't clean that up? They
they
didn't find
couldn't clean it up. So TMZ released this and I think what it is two things. She was irate. I watched the video several times. She was irate. But she
about
never
what?
doesn't seem very different than her personality. She seems very over the top. Not if you put up that picture of her, she does not seem pulled together like the normal bachelorettes and bachelors that we see. I mean, even from the slightly frizzy hair, what's happening? She just doesn't seem like she's pulled together. Um, but in the
I don't
video,
know.
she's attacking him, she's throwing things at him. She's physically attacks him, and she throws a bar stool and it hits the daughter. The daughter's crying. She does not stop. I blame ABC because ABC knew not only, and so she got arrested for that. Not only did she do this, but there are several other instances of her involved in violent attacks. There's no way that ABC's team that they put on doing background checks on these people did not know that. And they were okay with it because they thought they were going to get views. Network television is in trouble because of streaming, and they took a chance, they took a risk, and
Okay, Crystal, as a publicist, how do you clean this up?
you
How do
can't
you?
clean it
Okay,
up.
okay, hold up. As a publicist, right? Okay, so this happened in 2023. The show was filmed what, a year later or 2 years recently.
The show
So
was
this is
filmed
three.
a year ago, so
So
the show
this
was
is
filmed in
so 2 years.
2025.
So 2 years ago, they knew about this.
Hmm.
They knew about it before they even they knew about. They probably knew about it while they were filming because they had to do their
Yeah,
research on what was going
yeah.
on. So they knew what was going on, and they still filmed anyways, and they still went ahead and
A whole
somebody
season.
figured out. Somebody figured out that maybe we can get past this because of the news media, what's happening in the world. People won't pay attention.
Hmm.
Why did it? Why? Who released the video and why did they do that? Why?
Well,
TMZ. You said.
TMZ released the video.
How did they get it? And so,
Well, the video
well,
was
because.
public. The video was public. They re-released it. TMZ is not ABC, and
Well, I know that, but
but I'm
somebody
just saying,
has
like
to.
they were because TMZ released this in in light of the premiere of The
Yeah,
Bachelorette.
I know, but we see we okay. You've seen the morning show,
Hmm.
and they show the behind the scenes of what happens in the show. So I'm wondering who released the video and why. There has to be a reason why because you don't find an old video and then re-release it on a major platform like TMZ. You
No,
know,
I
you have
think
to know somebody inside and pass it along and be like,
I think TMZ does a great job of sabotaging things or putting things out and I think that we have a culture where something could come out and because of what was going on at the time, it may not have a horrible backlash, but you
yeah,
put it out in today's climate and it goes crazy. That should have went crazy then. Um, but it did, I guess she was still popular. She's still been celebrated. I don't get the you're right. Speak on it. You're
I'm
100%
just
right.
saying if it was somebody else, it would have been it would
You're
never happen. Show would have been canceled on
on Hulu, and
yeah.
she would never have gotten the opportunity to be on The Bachelorette. If a woman of color
Yeah.
had acted out like that numerous times, had a reputation for that, she would never, because we have to be the most
Isn't that funny?
docile, most, it's not funny. It's just, it's
No,
not,
no, no. I'm saying, isn't that funny how I was gonna say, isn't it funny how you can just speak to somebody in a firm tone, but then you're the angry black woman, but then you have somebody throwing chairs and
she's not
you
an
know,
angry white woman. And
yeah,
again,
exactly.
can you reference that photo again? I just want y'all to see that this is her at her best.
Mm, mm, mm. That's the best.
That is the best. That is her pulled together at an event, and it's you can just look at her and tell that there's. I mean, as a man, can't you look at her and see in her
Oh
eyes like
yeah.
something is
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I can. Yeah. Where's she
Now, what
from?
I am interested to know what would happen is what happened behind the scenes on The Bachelorette. That's what's going to be the interesting thing. If people, because now people want to know who did she choose, what happened, what's the storyline. So they actually may end up winning by showing the scandalous scene. I mean, they probably are going to put this season out eventually, but
Did
they say they canceled it. But it's now there's going to be such an interest in what happened this season that it's probably going to end up being able to be put out someplace else.
did I was gonna say what happened in the video? I mean, I saw the video, but I don't know why she was mad at the guy or what happened. Did he
I'm
cheat
not
on her or
sure
something?
what
Or
he did, but whatever it is, it did not
She was
warrant
so
that.
popular.
But
She's still
we got to
celebrated.
welcome our sports
Yeah.
influence here, Jamal Bottom Line Burke, joining us after the politics and
Yeah.
to bring Jamal on to sports. But before we get to sports, Jamal, I want to talk about Jay-Z because we talk about from a publicity perspective. I feel like Jay-Z is a master. I think there's not very many people in business that are better at this than him. And we know that Jay-Z obviously is, I'm not sure what his position is officially with the NFL, but we know that he's involved in the NFL and entertainment, right? But Jay-Z has officially changed his stage name Basically he's added the ampersand his to his name, and he put it out on this upcoming release, announcing that he's going to be performing with the Roots in Philly, which is really dope. And this is going to be on all his I guess it's going to be this summer, the performance with the Roots. But yes, he is now. There's no change to the pronunciation of the name, but this is now officially the way his name is to be listed on anything that he's doing. This is now the new branding of Jay-Z. No hyphen, with the it's umlaut, not ampersand, the umlaut.
Yeah.
And I guess he did something. He dropped the hyphen back in 2013, but now he's added the omelet. Jamal, what are your thoughts? Do you see what do you think Jay-Z is doing to? What do you think the reason is for this change? Because we know with him everything is very strategic, very very strategic.
Yeah, 100%. Everything Jay-Z does is very intentional. And this is just another example of him distancing himself and just really making sure everybody know you ain't me. But I
That's
think,
crazy.
I think this is a blank start. He has several appearances already on schedule, like you mentioned, the Roots Picnic Festival. He's also going to be making appearances, I believe, at Yankee Stadium this
Two
summer
nights.
as well.
Yeah.
Yep, 2 nights. One night celebrating Blueprint, and the other one celebrating I can't remember the other album, but I think this is the time is
Reasonable doubt.
Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so, because that's something he's customarily have done several
Yeah.
times. So those have been well documented by Jay-Z himself, his two favorite albums. So
Yeah.
for him to allow the fans such as myself and countless others to celebrate that, it's great timing, and we need that, especially after hearing all the news that's in the media at this time.
Yeah,
I think
30,
my
30
favorite.
years. Yeah, 30 years with the 30 years Reasonable Doubt and 25 with the Blueprint, or vice versa. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Because
What
Blueprint came
one
out 9/11.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Which album did you celebrate with the partnership with the New York Library? That was, I mean, that was just amazing to
I don't
me. Did you
remember that
guys see
one.
that he rapped? The library was wrapped
Yeah.
in his lyrics.
Yep. I remember that one.
And
Yeah,
it
that
was
was great.
I just and it just it was so like outside of like the New York Library. Like yeah.
It was unprecedented. It was unprecedented. It was very imaginative, and again, it was just nostalgia of how they recreated the studios. They put original, lyrics, and I actually have a bookmark
nice.
that I have that I'm gonna hold on as long as I can.
Oh, nice, nice.
Till that number gets somebody offers, hey, till it goes up to a certain price. There's always a price, Jamal. There's always a price. I want to ask this about your thoughts, both of you guys, because I know from working with a lot of people that have worked with him, he's kind of played around with the retirement, and then he comes out. Is this him coming out of retirement? Is this official? Because he's doing performances right now. You remember he performed. He did a performance that was not advertised a while ago with an event in Paris. He came out and he did a surprise performance, but it was a private show. But is this Jay-Z's way of subtly coming out of retirement? Something, because he, the last time we've seen him perform has been with Beyonce. This is all
Yeah.
about Jay-Z. What do you think, Victor?
I think, well, there's speculation that he's broke. I don't know. That's what they're saying. They're saying he's in the hole.
There he is. Nah,
They
nah.
said this. Nah,
That's ridiculous. That's outrageous.
I'm saying they say him and B. No, because he put his home up for sale and all. Anyhow,
You can when you buy a house, you can sell the house.
I know.
That
I
doesn't
know, I'm just
indicate that
saying,
he's. But
listen,
that's blasphemous.
I'm just
go on
saying.
record
I'm
to
just
say
saying.
that.
I'm just saying. Listen, to people.
That's absurd. That is
No,
absolutely
but
outrageous.
seriously, I think an album's coming. I think there's music coming. The last time we heard him perform his original music was for a TV movie soundtrack. What was it called? I forget what it's called. The cowboy, the Western black Western movie soundtrack. He did a song
on
there.
on Netflix.
Yeah, I think he was part of that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, this is he hasn't retired. He never said he was retiring from music. People speculate
He
that.
did.
When?
No, he
When
did. He has said that several times.
Oh,
But he did 444 to me was an album. Like to me, his albums since I guess over the last 15 years have been more. 444 was a lot of social commentary. It was like he's
it's like
moved
art
out of
piece.
right.
Yeah,
It's more
his
art
yeah,
driven and socially
yeah,
social conversation starting with him talking about just I mean we saw him do more interviews than we've ever seen him do in his career, talking about his
yeah,
marriage, talking about growth
yeah.
as a man, and then he and Beyonce did the Carters together. Like it's just it feels very different, so I don't even know what I would expect from him with music, and I also don't even know
Yeah.
what I would expect some of these albums that he's put out. I don't know if he would be performing content from his newest, from his latest works, because it doesn't kind of fit that Jay-Z that we know from Hard Knock Life and from Blueprint and Reasonable Doubt. The new projects don't really fit that. So I don't know. I
I
can't. I
feel
don't know.
I feel I'm gonna say one last thing. I feel, and I'm gonna tie it with sports. I feel like this is like the big three. When that first came out, people were like, "Why we have a big three?" And then we saw all of the retired players playing on the big three. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is that moment for hip hop because a lot of times they say hip hop is a young man's sport, which it kind of is. But then now we're seeing this past year, all the legacy acts were the ones who carried the charts. And when people were buying their records, the Clips, you could go on and on different names.
Nas.
So yeah, Nas, exactly. So now I think the game has changed where people are like, wait a minute, I don't necessarily have to retire. I can still do my art form, be respectful for what I did, and move the game in a different direction. That's what I would
Yeah,
say.
and there's a plethora of rappers who, most notably Jadakiss, who
Yeah.
talked about the invisible age limit placed upon only our genre of hip hop rap music. That's not the case in country, rock, and other genres
Nope.
where, because you're 30 or 40 or 50, you can no longer make music. I think
Right.
with respect to Jay-Z, Jay-Z never retired. He most famously, even at the museum in Brooklyn, when he was interviewed by Gayle King, and she asked the question as well, he laughed it off, but he said he's not into making music just for the sake of making music. And everything he does, he said it has to be really something to say for him to invest his time into making an album. And I think that just his signature is on all his albums is the moment in time. What is he thinking? His perspective on life, what he's observing, what he's going through. And I know for like the last, 10 years or however long Blue Ivy's been born, he's pivoted and been focusing on his marriage and his kids and as well as business. So,
His legacy, yeah.
yeah, his legacy exactly. And so, yeah, we would welcome. We are itching
Yeah.
for new Jay-Z music because he's the best of our time, and he's arguably the best to ever do it. So, and he's just always he's entered rooms and has ascended to altitudes we can't even imagine. So to hear it from his perspective and hear how he overcame certain struggles and certain fights that he still has to fight. And what you
Yeah.
was alluding to earlier, Victor, the soundtrack was "Harder They Fall."
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Harder
There
They
you go.
Fall. Yeah,
But
that Nipsey Hussle song was iconic.
I know, right? But also to add to what you're saying too is like we didn't see hip hop grow up because for a minute I got frustrated. I was like, wait a minute, 50 years of hip hop and we're still doing foolishness, and we didn't see it grow up. And now we're seeing it that the ageism coming into the game, and so yeah, he needs to put something out. Yeah, we're waiting.
It kind of
Take-
goes along with what I was watching an interview with T.I., and he was saying that this, because he's in that generation, has come back with this new album, Kill the King.
Yeah.
And he was saying that the title of it is because rap for so long has been all about ego. He says it's been all about I as opposed to we and us. And I think we see there's a lot of Jay-Z has a lot of critics, but I think that even with T.I., we see him doing things that are community driven. When I was saying Jay-Z has a lot of critics, but I see a lot of his movements have been community driven, from the work that he's done with social justice to even his conversations that he's had about manhood and the example. I mean, whether you agree with him or not with some of the things he's done with the NFL, it's all about opening doors. And you can't go in. The first person who kicks the door in can't go in, in a rambunctious way. They got to come in to get in, and then you open the door for everybody else. And I feel like he's done a lot of things to push the culture forward, even in changing the way manhood is realized, where it's not about being cool and having a bunch of girls. It's about being there with my family. You mentioned his daughter, Blue Ivy, his first born, and I think she's she's 15 this year. It's crazy because we watched her grow up, but we see him taken aback, and just not even taken aback, but just being a different version of himself. And I do think that's good for the culture. I would be surprised if he did new music, but it definitely could be. And with him doing all this branding, that definitely suggests that there's definitely going to be some type of projects coming up. And I think when he does music, he does it in an all-encompassing way, so we know it just won't be music. It'll be tied to a message and a greater purpose.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he performs in next year's Super Bowl.
Oh, you know what? Okay. Okay.
And that's what y'all got me on the show for, baby.
Okay.
This ain't breaking news, but this is Bottom Line Burke's perspective.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're not gonna get Chris Brown. We're gonna
You
get
know
the
what I
man
mean? He's so great and so timeless that he don't have to warm up. He's already ready for the big season. You know what I mean? So I think performing in the Yankee Stadium, performing at the Roots, he don't need time to get back into
he don't need
top shape form. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's part of the performance in this upcoming.
He can just say,
"You heard it here first."
That's right. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
What's the date? What's the date?
He gonna say, Guru, turn me up in the headphones, and that's all you gotta come out.
Yeah. All right, well, Jamal, what's going on with sports? Take us to the bottom line.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on right now. We're in the midst of March Madness. That's the college basketball tournament, and a lot of the upcoming top NBA draft picks. This has been labeled the best freshman class in NCAA history. And you got AJ DeBonsta leading the way. And I'm so proud and excited on a personal note because he's from my hometown of Brockton, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
So the fact that he comes from such a beautiful family, his father, Ace, I know Ace well, and he's just done a phenomenal job protecting his son's brand. And as far as his son's brand, he, in my opinion, should be the number one overall pick in this upcoming draft. He's 6'9". He got great handles. He has a knack to get to the basket, no matter where he's at on the floor. And the thing I'm proudest to see in his maturation of his game is his mid-range jumper. He has worked tirelessly on it. And the BYU coach, Kevin Young, who has pro experience, has been helping him matriculate in the right direction on that. And he looks like a pro player already. So fully expect him to go number one. Now, if you asked me this a couple months ago, it would have been Kansas University's guard, Darren Peterson, I went to their game last year when they was in high school, and Darren scored 60 and AJ scored 52 or something like that. But because Peterson has this entire year has been suffering abrupt cramps where he was only restricted to play half games. That's a major concern. If you can't
Wow,
play 32
cramps.
games in college, how are you going to play 82 in the pros?
Wow.
So that's
Yeah.
just something to keep an eye on. But he plays tonight, and he's still in the running as far as his school in this tournament. So I'm anxious to see how he performs tonight. But the one that is like the guaranteed, he's gonna be in the NBA for 10, 15 years, and he has the lineage with his father, Carlos Boozer, a former Duke University Blue Devil, Cam Boozer, his son. He just has he mastered the basics, mastered the fundamentals. He's so reliable, so dependable. He's a walking double-double every time he gets on a court, shows outstanding leadership and galvanizes his team and earned the respect not only from his teammates, but his coaches and his peers. His presence is of excellence, and every time he gets on the floor, he dominates. And of late, Arkansas's budding superstar guard, Darius Acuff Jr., he's just been putting on a show. These last night he scored 45 points in a double overtime win in the tournament. So
Wow.
look for him to be a top 5 pick, probably the first guard overall taking this upcoming draft. So there's a lot of excitement, and the NBA needs more talent, and these young gentlemen are going to do just that.
A question about the NBA needing more talent. I heard something about an expansion teams on the NBA, and you know, I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about how NBA is kind of watered down right now, and it might make it more watered down. I don't know the expansion teams, but we need new players, like you said. So you know, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
Yes.
what does that mean, Jamal?
So the expansion team, they've been talking about this for several years now, and the conversations have been heating up. So the two cities that are on the table are Seattle and Las Vegas. And
Okay.
LeBron James over the last several years has been very vocal about he wants ownership in Las Vegas. And the interview you might be talking about, because there's several, but the one I've seen watching this morning was Tracy McGrady was on the Dan Patrick show, and
Okay.
Dan Patrick asked Tracy McGrady, who's a Hall of Fame NBA player, you know, what his thoughts was on the expansion. And that's what he said. He said that the product right now currently in the NBA is a little diluted.
Yeah.
Some bad basketball is going on, so he can't see adding more teams would be helpful. But I think it's inevitable that they're going to expand at some point. Economic wise, it's a little dicey just because in Seattle, for instance, you're only going to be able to charge so much where people
Yeah.
can afford it. So the affordability component, the economics of it, I think has to be ironed out in addition to the products. And then again, in closing with it, like you gotta have stars in these cities to
Pretty
drive
much, yeah.
attendance, to drive merch revenue, and to uplift all the restaurants and bars and all the businesses associated with the game on game day, or to keep that energy sustainable even when the product is lackluster.
What would it take? I mean, I know we got to move on, but I just can't imagine. That's a huge undertaking to start an entire new franchise team. You know, what would
Yeah.
that take besides stars? Because in order to get people excited and get the morale of the
Yeah.
city behind, that's just seems like a huge undertaking. What would that even? What are some of the building blocks of creating, an expansion team, putting a team in Seattle, putting a team in Las Vegas? What do you need to put that together?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, getting raising the money for the arenas, and then the thing about the NBA, all teams kind of have a revenue share thing, where each team, no matter how they perform on a court, there's a revenue sharing where they're guaranteed a certain amount of money, and that's supposed to that was in play to circumvent the small market teams. that
Mm-hmm.
don't
Mm-hmm.
generate the type of revenue that like a Los Angeles or New York can generate.
Yeah,
You know,
small
teams
markets.
like Indiana, the New
Yeah.
Orleans Pelicans, those type of markets are not going to be able to generate the type of money the bigger cities are. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
say stay tuned within the next couple years. That one of the important dates to keep in mind is the All Star game in 2028 will be one of the dates that they're trying to make decisions by. Allegedly, that's just something that's the
Okay.
circle.
Interesting. All right, what else is going on in the world in the world of sports outside of these? I know people are excited about March Madness, but we are when is March Madness over?
March.
Is it at the end of March? I don't do that. I didn't know if it was like this week. Is it the 31st?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
the 31st? Is it
No,
on
well,
the
the
31st?
championship usually is like the first week in April, but
He
they
said
call it
March.
March
Okay.
Madness.
Why y'all do me like
Well, I'm sorry. Wait, I'm just answering the question. I'm answering the question. No, well, they call it March Madness because throughout the this entire month,
Yeah.
that's when all the best of the best will play against each other, and then the championship again usually is like the first week in April. So
Okay.
usually on a Monday, I believe. I believe it's on a Monday, and so that's what's going on. And again, one thing that's heating up in the headlines is the BYU's again AJ DeBonster, the projected number one overall pick in this upcoming NBA draft. He was asked about did he select BYU for his own personal development or for the reported $4.6 million he received in NIL money, which leads to a larger conversation for young athletes. Are you choosing these colleges and universities because of the amount of money you're offered, or are you using it strategically to develop your skill set to potentially market yourself for life after college, or just even in college? Every year you have to, resell yourself, coaches to plays and plays to coaches, and that's just a new environment that is a reality that each year is a contract year essentially because
Yeah.
at the end of the
Wow.
season you have to go to the team and based off your performance they either will offer you something or a lot of people are getting let go if they underperform. So he said he went there for the player development. Kevin Young had NBA experience and that's how he was able to perfect his mid-range jumper, and it was a fantastic decision, and it's going to culminate into him being more than likely the top, one or two picks in this upcoming draft.
Is there an expected if you are given oh wow, if you're given a certain amount of money, from the NIL deal, is there an expectation
Yeah,
that you
absolutely,
would? I'm
absolutely.
just saying, is that a contractual expectation or is it just understood? Is that kind of like something that you feel pressure, that would be loyalty to where that money came from after when you move on to the pros, or what is that? What is the open relationship? And then is there something that's actually on paper as opposed to something that's just understood?
No, there's things in writing, right? You have clauses, and again, it's just at this point that's why they say it's not a game anymore; it's business. And
Hmm.
you're hearing more and more coaches become more vocal about the investment that they're making in players that are not returning on the investment. They're not getting the ROI on the investment that they have. And I think
Hmm.
it boils down to if I'm a player, if I'm an athlete, and I do not think I have the skill set or the ability to play in the NBA, to play in the NFL, football, basketball, respectfully, then I'm gonna just maximize my opportunities and go where the highest bidder is because this is the highest level that I see myself playing in. And
Hmm.
I
That
think
makes sense.
I think coaches are catching on to that. College and universities are trying to provide safeguards. And yes, there's tough conversations for people who for the players that received the money in the beginning of the season and underperformed, and they're not getting those contracts renewed. They're not.
Yeah.
Some of them, like I said, they're being encouraged to enter the transfer portal. So there's a lot of reality checks conversationally after the season, and I just think it's going to get tougher and tougher for players that do have those desires to just maximize financially at the collegiate level and just go from school to school. I think there's going to be some bylaws implemented within the next couple of years that's going to curtail that type of movement.
What's the percentage of players that make it to the NFL from college? I
Or
mean, what
NBA,
is
yeah.
it?
Like 1, 2, 3,
Professional.
1, 2, 3. Like
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
not a lot.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, Victor. Like this provides a beautiful opportunity for college athletes that are conscious financially about creating a nest egg for life after college sports. You can, in this environment, you can leave college with a house paid for, whatever car you want, and have a substantial amount of surplus money in your bank account, so you can have a healthy livelihood after sports if you do the right thing and manage your money soundly at this particular time instead of blowing it, especially if
Yeah.
you know in your own heart and mind that you have no aspirations of playing, at the professional level. And so I just think that you're seeing so many businesses being
that, though.
created to help these athletes navigate through the taxes of the
Yeah.
money that they're having, because you're talking about 6, 7 figures, and also manage their money appropriately as opposed to just blowing it, going to the clubs and cars and all of these
Girl,
the
yeah.
appreciation,
I think
items.
it's smart though. I think it's smart because when you're 20 something years old, or even 19, and you're the top of your game in college, and then your injuries happen during that time, and then by the time you get to the NFL or the NBA, you're not as sharp player wise as you were when you were, you might be, but you have more energy, more gusto, more whatever you want to call it in your college years. So,
Yeah, it's not
I
even
want
necessarily about injury. It's just the reality. Only 1, 2, 3% are going.
yeah.
Those are daunting numbers, overwhelming numbers to a lot of athletes. Again, it's like
And then when you get there, how much
be
how much you making?
special. I'm sorry.
But then when you get to the NFL or the NBA, how much money are you going to make if you're not the top of the top? You make a lot of money in your college years,
if you're just if you're still on the bench. But
Yeah.
Jamal, how likely is it for a college player to think I may not be realistically I may not go? Or do you I just feel like all athletes are the goal is to push forward and to get to that
Yeah.
professional level. Do you think it's realistic for players for college players, and maybe that's the role of like mentors to say, hey, this may be the height of your career.
Take
Let's
it.
maximize
Yeah.
this, but realize that it may not go beyond. Is that I just can't imagine you being able to deliver the best on the court if you're thinking in your back of your head, I probably am not going to be a part of that 1, 2, 3%.
Well, the reality is that a lot of athletes, whether they are ready or not, they receive those answers by the amount of time that they don't play in college. Everybody who's on a roster doesn't play games, right?
Right.
And then, are you second string, special teams? These are limited
Okay.
time on the field. And so, unless you're like an All-American on a special team, like let's say a special position like a punt return or something like that, then already know your chances are very low to play at the professional level. And then again, the players that are starters, how well you perform in it. I think because we see the draft every year and there's just so much more visibility because of so many different outlets now that we kind of normalize a player going pro. But
Yeah.
it is extremely, extremely, extremely rare and difficult to play
Yeah.
professionally. And I remember famously my roommate, after like week 2 of practice in double sessions in the summertime, he knew back in 1999 that he better just enjoy his college experience and take full advantage of the free education within the athletic scholarship because he knew right then and there that this was as good as it gets.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I think of with men's sports, there's a small percentage, but that up until recently, I mean, the WNBA has really opened the doors for females because that wasn't even a possibility when we were growing up. It wasn't a
Yeah,
possibility, and
true.
especially now, you see WNBA players having just having careers that I know female basketball players, years ago couldn't even have dreamt of, So, but there's still there's is this do these issues fall, I guess, spill over to the WNBA? I know that there's they've been going back and forth, and there's it looks like there's a negotiations including players opting out of their deals, but these deals weren't even around a little while ago. Can you talk a little bit about the union and what's going on with the WNBA?
Yeah, well, it's historic. It's unprecedented. It's the single largest salary jump of all of sports. So as of this past Tuesday, there was a verbal agreement. Now all the details have not been finalized, and but from what has been reported, each team will have a salary cap of $7 million. That's up substantially from last year, which was only $1.5 million.
Oh
And
wow,
the minimum
goodness.
salary, uh, the average salary is going to be $583,000, and that's almost 5 times as much as last year's, which was only 120,000. The
Wow.
supermax contract that's reserved for the all WNBA team, the best of the best women's in the league. Their
Hmm.
supermax will start at $1.4 million. A great notable is like Aja Wilson. She was actually awarded allegedly the first supermax contract because she's the best player in the league. $1.4 million, and that went up from $250,000 from last year. And one of the things they fought hard about was housing. And so what
Hmm.
they implemented into the contract or the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement for the WNBA, players the first 3 years they will be provided housing, and the president, Nikki, I think her name is Aguago.
Hmm.
She talked about how that's going to be an enormous advantage for all players to save money for housing
Yeah.
posts and stuff like that. So that's just a great, enormous benefit income wise to put that reserve somewhere else as opposed to worrying about that. And the most important thing is the esteem. Deion Sanders famously said, when you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. When you play good, they pay good. And I think
Yeah.
another intangible thing that was important in the negotiations was these ladies wanted to look around and see the aesthetics of being in a professional women's basketball league, and as
Yeah.
far as transportation and amenities and the way they're being treated, I think now is looking more like they want it to be, and this is a big win from all players that was in negotiation.
Wow.
That
Is
is.
that a direct reflection of of the support that the WNBA received this year from fans? And I saw there was a lot more brand deals. Is that where all this money in this renegotiation can stem from?
Yeah, I think it's all encompassing, right? It's the TV deals, it's the support. Even in rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, was a big
Hmm.
supporter of the WNBA, and I think when you hearing so many players in this past season, there was several players that were very vocal post game about some of the broken promises and the embellishments of how much money that teams are making or league was making. And I think also what has helped get this thing done is that there's several players that created their own league, this league called Unrivaled, that has been very
Oh.
Hmm.
successful, that's been putting money in these young ladies' pockets. That this is but overall, the thing to keep in mind, this is literally life changing, for a lot of
Yeah.
these young ladies. So it's a verbal agreement at this time, and I'm really happy for these ladies because they fought long and hard, and this is what they deserve, and they're finally getting the money for it.
I also think it's great for just women. I think I went to a basketball game. I went to my first WNBA game this year. Saw Brittany Griner play, and just the Atlanta Dream, and to see young girls. They brought out some young girls from different social organizations, but seeing them being able to watch these professional female basketball players play and be supported and be celebrated, it was just inspirational because that was not the case before.
Right.
And I also had the privilege of working on a campaign with Talia Wajid with her brand, with a couple of players, college basketball players, and seeing how excited they were to be at the WNBA game and seeing how they were able to see representation just matters. And for so long, when sports just didn't offer that, and that's in this way. So
It's
I
important, yeah.
just love what it means to tomorrow's young women growing up, that they have different opportunities, and with those positions on the field positions on the field or positions on the court come opportunities for women in other areas of the game as well. Coaches are so dope. NBA coaches I interviewed Dawn Staley. She's absolutely amazing. There's just more opportunity for women in that space, be it coach, admin, a part of the support team, public relations team, and all that, agents. There's just more opportunity for women in that space when women are, have those opportunities. So
Yeah,
shouts out to
absolutely.
WNBA.
Yeah.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, representation matter. It takes a you to save as you. So when you turn on that TV and you see you,
Yeah.
it makes things a little bit more real. So we got to keep supporting. Like you went to the game, so showing up for the games, buying jerseys,
Yeah.
supporting financially is also going to help sustain this and grow it.
I agree. I agree. Well, I think that'll do it for today's episode of the Reprint. Jamal, as always, we appreciate you bringing sports to us from the bottom line Burke perspective.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And I heard a little bit about you guys' subject matters earlier about the gas prices. We're feeling it nationwide, worldwide. It's a disruptor in all industries. And I remember famously back in like 08, 09 when the market crashed. I was in the financial service industry, and gas prices was rising, kind of at the rate it is now. And I remember one of my directs was like, "It doesn't matter if it's $10, $15 a gallon. What are you gonna walk?"
Yeah, true,
You know what
true.
I mean? So it doesn't, obviously it's a financial affordability thing, as this thing keeps rising. You talked about the barrels of oil at $120. As that thing keep rising, I do think you got to limit some of the
Moving on, yeah.
traveling, but yeah, it's just there's
Can you
nothing but
imagine?
if you're gonna drive, you're gonna have to put gas in your car, and so
Can you imagine summertime when it gets to be summertime around here and gas
Exactly.
prices start going up more? Yeah,
yeah, so
travel's going up. Plane tickets are going up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, no.
Yeah, one of our colleagues was flying today, and his flight left at noon, and he was like, "I've got to be at the airport at 9." I was like, "Why?" I was like, "Because TSA is shut down, and there's
TSA. Yeah.
you know
hmm
yeah, there's all types of things happening." But to Jamal's point, I mean, life moves forward, and we have to figure out how to do that, And so I
Yeah.
think that's one of the reasons that we enjoy doing this, because it's important to talk about it, but then it's also important to give perspective. And the perspective is that we'll make a way through this.
Yeah.
We'll make a way through. We all will.
Crystal, you got horses, right?
I know somebody was like, "Well, I just ride the horse." I was
Get
like,
your horses out.
"No, you gotta feed them too. You gotta feed them too." And some of that
It's
horse
grass.
feed is in the
Come on.
trucks that
Yeah.
are coming from it. There's a grass, but these horses nowadays are bougie. They don't just eat grass; they eat
You
grain.
got a whole yard full of grass. Feed them horses some grass. Let's go. Gas up.
No, that was great. No,
Yeah,
I had
you have-
fun. I definitely had fun today. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
You
for
have
coming
any
on today.
weekend plans? What are you planning to do this weekend?
Oh, this weekend work. I got presentations on Monday, Tuesday, so I'll be working this weekend, and as I always, go to church on Sunday.
There you go.
Gotcha.
I will,
Yep.
be, I will be attending a Black Women in Film event tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. Atlanta, Atlanta is great living here because there's always something you can do to connect with
Yep.
Black excellence. It's an ongoing thing here, so I'm looking forward to that. But that will be the only weekend activity I will be doing this after, because I won't be gassing up in the city of Atlanta. I'll definitely be gassing up
Mm.
out here with Victor. What about you?
Family time. That's it.
There you go.
Just yeah, relaxing. Yeah, enjoying some of this heat,
Yeah.
the sun. Yeah,
It's beautiful here too. He likes
yeah.
to rub it in all the time that he's in Orange County, and it's good. He likes to rub it in. But Atlanta's beautiful. I went outside this morning, and we've got great weather here, so we'll all be enjoying
Yeah.
that. But we encourage you all as you're out to make sure you do something for yourself. Spend some time recalibrating this weekend. Even if you do have to work, like myself and Jamal, make sure you get a chance to spend some time.
And me too. I'm working too.
Nah, you
spend
say you're gonna
time.
be enjoying the sun. Oh, this weather over in California,
Going away.
California.
You know, I'm not gonna be working too. Come on.
Hey, all
Balance,
we know is what
balance.
you
Come on.
said. All we know is
Balance,
what you say.
balance,
That's all we can judge it on.
balance.
But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you tune in next week for an all new episode on the reprint. We have an AI tech joining us on Monday to talk about innovation and what's happening. And I'm telling you all, we have a new commentator that's going to be offering some entrepreneurial advice twice a month. Shantae Bacon from 135th Agency
nice.
is
Yep.
going to be joining us. But, and one of the things that she shared recently as we did this State of the Black Woman address that we can't wait to share with the public next week is that if you're not finding ways to become more savvy and to learn AI, you're going to be left behind. So it's important that our community embraces this. We can't be afraid of technology. We can't be standing off. We have to be on the cutting edge of it. We have to educate ourselves and be ready to move forward. So make sure you're tuned in on Monday, 9 a.m. on the West Coast, 12 noon here on the East Coast. This is a reprint. We thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. That's a good intro.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's the outro. I got an intro and an outro. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen the intro?
No, I think I might have seen a little bit, then I just fast forwarded to the actual show.
Stop.